Can Sony's latest flagship, the Xperia 1.6, finally break through and compete with the big players? With a revamped design, powerful hardware, and improved camera capabilities, does the Xperia 1.6 have what it takes to win over consumers, or will it ultimately fall short of expectations? Join us as we explore the hard truth behind Sony's bold new offering. Let's start with the design and build quality. We've got to give credit where it's due. Sony has always been a master of craftsmanship, and the Xperia 1.6 is no exception. This phone feels solid as a rock thanks to its aluminum frame and Gorilla Glass Victus 2 protection on both the front and back. But here's where things really get intriguing. Sony has bid farewell to the iconic 21:9 aspect ratio that defined the Xperia lineup for years. Instead, they've embraced a more mainstream 19.5:9 display, which is a bold move, to say the least. We can't help but wonder if this decision was driven by a desire to appeal to a broader audience. Now, we know some die-hard Xperia fans might be upset by this change, but hear us out. The new 6.5-inch LTPO OLED display is a stunner. It's bright, vibrant, and supports HDR-BT 2020 for an incredible viewing experience. Plus, it's a 120 Hz panel, which means scrolling and animations are buttery smooth. But wait, there's more. Sony has also promised upgrades to the panel's brightness, HDR video capabilities, and power efficiency. So, while we might miss the unique aspect ratio, the improvements in display quality are hard to ignore. Moving on to the camera department, which has always been a strong suit for Sony, let's start with the hardware. The Xperia 1.6 retains the same triple camera setup as its predecessor, but with a few tweaks. The main wide-angle shooter boasts a 48-megapixel sensor with dual-axle PDAF and OIS, which is a tried-and-true combination for capturing stunning photos and videos. The ultra-wide-angle lens remains a 12-megapixel, offering a wider field of view for those epic landscape shots. But the real star of the show is the telephoto lens. Sony has upped the ante by increasing the optical zoom range from 5.2 times to an impressive 7.1 times. That's a significant upgrade, allowing you to get closer to your subjects without sacrificing image quality. And here's where things get really exciting. Sony has streamlined the camera experience by putting everything you need, including the photo and video pro modes, right in the default camera app. No more switching between different apps or diving deep into menus. It's all there at your fingertips. We tested the camera in various scenarios, and let us tell you, it's a beast. The detail and dynamic range in the photos are simply jaw-dropping, and the videos are crisp and stable, thanks to the 5-axis gyro EIS and OIS. But what really sets the Xperia 1.6 apart is its ability to capture incredible low-light shots. Sony's computational photography algorithms work their magic, preserving detail and minimizing noise in dimly lit environments. Powering the Xperia 1.6 is Qualcomm's latest and greatest, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip. This bad boy is a performance monster, blazing through even the most demanding tasks with ease. Now, we know what you're thinking, but what about heating issues and battery drain? Well, folks, Sony has you covered. The company has implemented its own optimizations to balance performance, graphics quality, and power consumption seamlessly. Enter the FPS Optimizer, a nifty little feature that automatically adjusts the frame rate and graphics settings based on the app or game you're using. This means you get the smoothest experience without sacrificing battery life or causing your phone to overheat. Speaking of battery life, the Xperia 1.6 packs a massive 5,000 mAh cell, which should easily last you through a full day of heavy usage. And when it's time to juice up, you can take advantage of the 30-watt wired charging or wireless charging capabilities. But it's not just about raw power. Sony has also put a lot of thought into the software experience. The Xperia 1.6 runs on the latest Android 14 out of the box, and Sony's custom skin is clean and minimalistic, delivering a near-stock Android experience. However, Sony has added a few handy features that cater specifically to creators and power users. For instance, the native Sony Alpha camera support allows you to connect your Sony Alpha camera directly to the phone and transfer photos or videos with ease. And let's not forget about the audio department. Sony has always been a leader in audio quality, and the Xperia 1.6 is no exception. The 3.5mm audio jack gets a premium upgrade, and the stereo speakers are louder and cleaner than ever before. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, battery life. We all know that flagship smartphones these days can be real battery hogs, especially when you factor in power-hungry features like high refresh rate displays and 5G connectivity. Well, Sony has taken a proactive approach with the Xperia 1.6, packing it with a massive 5,000 mAh battery. That's a serious upgrade from the 4,500 mAh cell in the previous model, and it should translate to significantly better battery life. But wait, there's more. Sony has also included some clever optimizations to help you squeeze every last drop of juice out of that beefy battery. The LTPO OLED display, for instance, can dynamically adjust its refresh rate between 1 Hz and 120 Hz, depending on the content you're viewing. This means that when you're reading an ebook or browsing static web pages, the display can dial down the refresh rate to save power. And then there's the FPS optimizer that we mentioned earlier. By automatically adjusting the frame rate and graphics settings based on the app or game you're using, the Xperia 1.6 can strike the perfect balance between performance and efficiency. When it comes to charging, Sony's got you covered with 30-watt wired charging support. They claim that you can get up to 50% charge in just 30 minutes, which is pretty impressive for such a large battery. But that's not all. The Xperia 1.6 also supports wireless charging and reverse wireless charging, so you can juice up your other devices on the go. Lastly, now it's time for our final thoughts on the Sony Xperia 1.6. First and foremost, let's address the elephant in the room, the switch to a more mainstream 19.5:9 aspect ratio. While this move might disappoint some die-hard Xperia fans, we can't deny that it makes the device more appealing to a broader audience. And let's be honest, the 21:9 aspect ratio was a bit of a niche feature that not everyone embraced. That said, Sony hasn't completely abandoned its quirky identity. The Xperia 1.6 still packs a punch in terms of camera performance, audio quality, and overall build quality, all areas where Sony has traditionally excelled. The camera system, in particular, is a standout feature. The increased optical zoom range on the telephoto lens, combined with Sony's computational photography prowess, delivers stunning results. Whether you're shooting landscapes, portraits, or low-light scenes, the Xperia 1.6 is a capable and versatile shooter. Under the hood, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip ensures smooth performance, and Sony's optimizations help strike a balance between power and efficiency. The massive 5,000 mAh battery is a welcome addition, and the 30-watt wired charging support means you can quickly top up when needed. But perhaps the most impressive aspect of the Xperia 1.6 is its attention to detail. From the premium audio circuitry to the native Sony Alpha camera support, this phone is clearly designed with creators and power users in mind. That said, it's not without its flaws. The lack of a bundled charger in the box might rub some people the wrong way, and the absence of an IP68 rating for dust and water resistance is a bit disappointing for a flagship device. Overall, though, the Sony Xperia 1.6 is a solid offering that strikes a balance between mainstream appeal and the quirky features that make Xperia phones so unique. If you're in the market for a powerful, feature-packed smartphone that excels in areas like photography, audio, and creative prowess, the Xperia 1.6 is definitely worth considering. However, if you're someone who prioritizes a pure Android experience or values a more mainstream design language, you might want to look elsewhere. The Xperia 1.6 is still a niche product, catering to a specific subset of users who appreciate Sony's attention to detail and willingness to push the boundaries. At the end of the day, the decision to buy the Xperia 1.6 will come down to your personal preferences and priorities. If you're a die-hard Sony fan or a creative professional who values the unique features this phone offers, then it's an easy recommendation. But if you're looking for a more conventional flagship experience, you might find better value elsewhere. Well, that's a wrap on our in-depth look at the Sony Xperia 1.6. We took this flagship phone through its paces to give you the hard truth on its quirks, strengths, and whether it's worth upgrading or not. If this review helped you decide if the Xperia 6 is the right phone for you, do me a solid, smash that like button. It really helps the channel out. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and bell icon to get notified when we drop fresh videos breaking down the latest smartphones, gadgets, and tech.